Happy Halloween, my boils and ghouls. Bandit back with you again. Here today with a topic that I've been wanting to cover for quite some time now. You know I love Halloween. I love horror movies. So this topic is kind of, like I said, something that I've wanted to talk about for a long time. One of my all-time favorite horror movies, probably my favorite horror movie since seeing it, is the John Carpenter classic Halloween. Now, I only just recently watched this movie, maybe about 6 years ago, I think, but I absolutely loved it. This tells you how behind I am. I just watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre last year after buying it at a very good price. But I've always heard about the Halloween movies. I never watched them until like I said 5 or 6 years ago. Then I picked up the second movie in the series and absolutely loved that. But then I started hearing about how confusing Halloween was, and I did a little research. So, just to show you how big of a fan I really am of the series, this is what I own for the Halloween movies. We got the original classic, Halloween, got its follow-up sequel, Halloween 2, got the third movie in the franchise, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and then I also have Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection. Halloween 3 and the double bill I picked up last year around Halloween time. I love it when it's Halloween and Walmart puts out all the horror movies. I just go rifling through there and see, oh, I need this one, I need this one, I need this one. That's what I did last year. I rifled through the Halloween section, horror movie section at Walmart, and I picked up like Jason X, Halloween 3, the Halloween double pack, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I made out like a bandit. But the more I watched of like other people's videos, it became clear to me how confusing the Halloween timeline is. So I'm going to get into that with this video today. So while this video isn't necessarily me critiquing each movie in the franchise, I just want to talk about the timeline itself, let me just quickly give my thoughts on the movies that I have seen, because the ones that I haven't seen yet include Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and the most recent Halloween that came out last year. So just quickly going through all of them. Halloween. Love it. It's one of my, like I said, it's one of my, if not my all-time favorite horror movie. Halloween 2. Great sequel. Picks up right where the first one left off and continues telling such a great story. Halloween 3. Very, very underrated. If it didn't have the Halloween name to it and was just called Season of the Witch, I think it would have done a lot better. But we'll get into those reasons later on. Halloween H2O. Fantastic. Jamie Lee Curtis returns and just does a great job. And Halloween Resurrection is there. I did not care for Halloween Resurrection one bit, honestly and truthfully. I thought it was kind of dumb. Like, I like dumb, don't get me wrong, but not this kind of dumb. But those are my... Oh, and the Rob Zombie Halloween movie, the first one. That one I really enjoyed. I thought it got a little tedious at times because it did stick so closely to the original, but it was nice to see the progression of Michael Myers as a boy growing into the raging psychopath he turned out to be. So, just my quick thoughts on the movies. I do intend to see the Rob Zombie's second movie. I do intend to see the 2018 movie, and of course I want to see 4, 5, and 6. Gotta complete the series. So, anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the timeline itself, and it all kicks off with Halloween. And now, if you've seen the movie, you know the story. If you haven't seen the movie, then I suggest you go see it, unless you don't like horror movies. And why are you watching if you don't like horror movies? This is one of the things I love talking about. So it all kicks off with Halloween. The night he came home. We know who he is, Michael Myers. Babysitting, stalking, mask-wearing dude who wears a William Shatner mask. Yes, that is a William Shatner mask that they used in Halloween for the look of Michael Myers. Got the overalls. Just like I said, great movie, and it was followed up with an excellent sequel in Halloween 2. A lot of people kind of poo poo it, but I thought it picked up, you know, it carried over from the first movie and had just a great atmosphere because both movies take place over the course of one night, like one single Halloween evening. Laurie Strode being stalked by Michael Myers. And in this one, spoiler warnings, this is where we find out that Michael Myers is actually Laurie Strode's brother. So, yeah, so we get these two just fantastic movies that I absolutely loved. Now, when we get into the rest of the movies, this is where things kind of start getting confusing. Halloween 3 came about. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, the late Deborah Hill, decided that Halloween was a broad enough subject that they can make this an anthology series and just have every subsequent sequel in the franchise a different movie based entirely around the holiday of Halloween, which is a good idea, actually. From what I understand, Friday the 13th was also supposed to be a franchise much the same with anthologies, but we got Jason Voorhees out of that, and we got Halloween out of this one. A little more horror trivia for you. Nightmare on Elm Street, that was only supposed to be one movie. Wes Craven had a definitive ending, but Bob Shaye, he saw that they could stretch this out, make more movies out of it, make it a franchise, which gave it that ending. The original ending of Nightmare on Elm Street wasn't as ambiguous as it turned out to be, because it just had Nancy and her friends driving off, but we got that really strange ending with, well, we're not talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, but you can see that, these are subjects that I really, really enjoy and can talk about for hours, which is why I'm making videos on this. So that brings us to Halloween 3, the first and only movie in the franchise that does not feature Michael Myers. And that was the downfall of the movie. So Halloween 3 is where we first veer off the turnpike when it comes to the franchise. This is a completely self-contained movie in and of itself, and like I said earlier, if it was just called Season of the Witch, it would have been a fantastic movie. It would have been a hit, but everyone went into this thing, oh, Halloween, what's Michael Myers going to do now? And it's a supernatural tale of death masks. The best way I can describe it. Somebody wants to bring the holiday of Halloween back to its original pagan roots, and everybody was like, "This isn't Halloween. Where's Michael Myers?" They were sitting there for the entire runtime of the movie. How long was that? An hour and 39 minutes, and then we're like, "Well, where's Michael Myers? Where's Michael Myers?" Well, this didn't really have anything to do with Michael Myers, which pissed a lot of people off, and to the point where this really didn't get the respect it deserves until much later. Even before even seeing it myself, I kind of wrote it off. It was like, well, it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. Why should I even watch it? And I had a lot of fellow horror movie fans say, no, dude, watch it. It is actually a really good movie. And yeah, it is. On its own, great movie. One I would highly recommend to any horror movie buff who's not seen the Halloween franchise. And if you haven't seen the Halloween franchise, get on it. Well, I'm saying that, and I haven't seen 4, 5, or 6. I want to, and I'm looking for them desperately, but anyway. So yeah, Halloween 3 is where we first veer off the path, and great tale itself. But with no Michael Myers, it didn't make the money that Universal wanted. So then we're back into Michael Myers territory with the next 3 movies, Halloween 4, 5, and 6. Now, like I said, don't own those, haven't watched them yet. I know enough about them to know the general storyline of it. It's when you have that everything with Michael Myers' niece, and at this point they were saying that Laurie Strode had died in a car accident, and you had the Thorn cult, I think they were called. Just total chaos and weirdness in those movies. But it steered back onto the original timeline. So, yeah, and there's that one thing with Halloween 6. If you've seen Halloween 6 or anything about it, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, ooh, that kind of. And another thing about Halloween 6 is Paul Rudd. Yes, Ant-Man is in Halloween 6, and I swear to God, from seeing everything that I saw about Halloween 6 to Ant-Man today, Paul Rudd doesn't age. Like, he's 50 years old now. The man doesn't age. He still looks like what he did back then when Halloween 6 came out. It's baffling. But, like I said, we're back on the path at this point. And then Halloween 6 comes and goes. And a few years later, in comes Halloween H2O. 20 years after the original Halloween comes out, you get this great movie. But there's a little twist on this one because it eliminates all the sequels after Halloween 2. So it's like Halloween, well, of course Halloween 3 didn't happen because even in the movie itself, you see an advertisement for the original Halloween movie. So that didn't happen. Halloween 4 didn't happen. Halloween 5 didn't happen. Halloween 6 didn't happen. Count how many times I say Halloween in this video alone. You'll go crazy. Don't make a drinking game of it, but please don't make a drinking game of this. Drink responsibly. But they totally retconned the entire timeline to be Halloween 1 and 2. That's it. Nothing else matters past that. Where you had Jamie Lee Curtis return as Laurie Strode, who has changed her name and moved to California out of Haddonfield, Illinois. She has a son, and she's a headmaster at a boarding school. Really, I thought Halloween H2O was really, really, really good. It was just... I've only seen it once. I need to watch it again. I need to watch all of them again. I'm going to watch all of them again. But it was really good, really suspenseful, and just that everything again with Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. Then we get into Halloween Resurrection, and that takes on that keeps on from that timeline, from the Halloween 2 onward. So, and the less said about Halloween Resurrection, the better. Rob Zombie's Halloween is when we get our first huge detour into a new timeline, which kind of has the same look as the old timeline because that movie was so... I don't want to say it was a shot-for-shot remake of the original Halloween movie, but it hit the same beats as the first movie. Although it seemed like Dr. Loomis in this movie was a lot more cynical, a lot more jaded than the Donald Pleasance character, who was played excellently by Malcolm McDowell. I was going to say Roddy McDowell for some reason, I don't know why. And get this, in this movie, you have Malcolm McDowell, Udo Kier, Brad Dorff, as Tim Conway's. Anyway, Brad Dorff and Clint Howard in the same movie, which makes this the greatest movie ever. I think Rob Zombie just picked all his favorite horror actors and was like, okay, let's put you in there. Well, Clint Howard's, he's got to be in everything. Being Ron Howard's brother kind of helps. But, but that one was, like I said, beat for beat. Once you got the second half of the movie when Michael Myers was all grown up, you had, it hit the same beats that the first one did. And you pretty much had all the same characters as well, too. You had Nancy Loomis. You had a friend, Annie. Who else? I can't remember all the names, but you had like mentions of Paul Tramer, the same things you had in the first movie. So it was a different timeline, but kind of mirrored. It was like a white. I hate saying this term, but it was almost like holding up a white trash mirror to the original one. Because oh my god, the Michael Myers' mother's boyfriend was such a piece of crap in this movie. Like, he was just disgusting, and yeah. So you had Halloween 2, which continued on with that timeline. I haven't seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I should say. I haven't seen that one yet. I'm going to get around to it. A lot of them I haven't seen. So that was the last Halloween movie for quite some time. And then in 2016 or 17, we got the news that there would be a brand new Halloween movie coming out in 2018. And it was a direct sequel to the first Halloween movie. So I'm sitting here like, okay, okay, okay. You've retconned the timeline before with Halloween H2O. And you're retconning the timeline again, making everything after Halloween just null and void. Because in this one, Michael Myers is no longer the brother of Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode has survived all these years. She has a daughter and a granddaughter and has become a survivalist in the same vein of Sarah Connor in Terminator 2. Holy crap, everything I was seeing in that movie, Laurie Strode wielding a shotgun, I just pissed my pants. So yeah, it was very confusing. Like I said, I haven't seen Halloween 2018 yet. It is definitely on my to watch list. I still got to get to the other ones. I will get to them, but once I find them. But it was really confusing to hear all that was going on. And then we get word that Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends is coming out in 2020 and 2021, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to continue the Halloween timeline. Yeah, that's another thing that was really confusing. You have Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018. So these are happening 40 years apart. Well, yeah, there's the whole thing, 40 years after the events of the original movie. I think, I don't know. I don't know what I think, honestly. I think they should have kept the timeline because in the original timeline, no, I can't even say the original, in the second timeline, there we go. I really think they should have kept to that and had Laurie stay dead because she died in Halloween Resurrection. Spoiler warnings. They should have kept to that timeline, or see, I don't want to say they shouldn't have made the movie, but I don't know. I think this is why the timeline of Halloween is so damn confusing. So we're just gonna have to see with everything that comes out. Are they gonna redo the timeline again for another series of movies? Are they just gonna stop it after Halloween Kills? I kind of hope they stop it after Halloween Kills because Jamie Lee Curtis isn't a young woman anymore. She's still amazing at her age. I saw a funny. I don't know if this is true or not, but she was doing an interview and somebody for Entertainment Tonight, and somebody asked her, "So are people still trying to chase you with a butcher knife and the hockey mask?" Oh, that's the wrong movie, baby. That is the wrong movie. And it is. It's like you get those people who think they know horror movies and are like, "Oh yeah, Michael Myers. He's the guy with the hockey mask." No, that's not Michael Myers. It's like saying Freddy Krueger's the clown who terrorizes kids every 27 years. As long as you know your horror movies, then you're set. You're golden. I can spout facts of horror movies that'll bore people. So So that is just my very, very quick look at the timeline of Halloween and how it is so confusing. I will be back with another Halloween-inspired video, or horror movie-inspired video, talking about the future of one of my favorite franchises of all time. It spawned an icon in Freddy Krueger. You see Freddy Krueger stuff everywhere. Made a star out of its cast: Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp. The first Nightmare on Elm Street movie was Johnny Depp's very first movie, and that just kind of kicked everything off for him. So we're going to talk about the future of Nightmare on Elm Street and what I want to see going forward. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big like. I'd really appreciate that. What do you think of the Halloween movies? What do you think of the timeline? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to share this video anywhere you can. In the description, you're going to see a link to my Redbubble store where you can pick up all your Irish Bandit merchandise. You can get t-shirts, leggings, stickers, coffee mugs, travel mugs, anything your heart's desire. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, tap that bell and you'll be notified whenever I go live with any new video. Thank you for joining me for this video, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Happy huntings. I'll talk to you again.